Hello, welcome back. Glad to have you. I really do appreciate everybody who's been checking this out. Appreciate comments, thumbs up, questions, all of that. We're into the very last stage of this first Tour de Bec Swiss and the return of a Tour de France for the women. It's been some really great racing. I hope you have been watching it. If you haven't been watching it, just lost my paintbrush. Haven't been watching it. First off, shame on you. Second, it is all available on streaming in the U.S. at Peacock. So you can go back and watch the whole thing. Unfortunately, more likely than not, there's been very little media coverage. So, you, other than my videos, may not even know what's transpired. So you can watch it as though it's happening all for you. So, like I say, we're on the final stage. We've just come down the final mountain, the final descent. Today's stage ends going up a mountain. So unlike the men's race, there is no, well, I've won the jersey, we're going to do champagne toasts and all that kind of stuff. If you want to go find those paintings that I did from the men's race last week, you can go to my blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com, and the whole tour is played out there in watercolors. And that last stage with all those, aren't we wonderful? And they are wonderful. I'm sorry, it sounded like I was belittling that stage. But that's not going to be the case for the women, because it's still possible, a bit unlikely, but possible to change the ultimate destination of the yellow jersey. She's been having some troubles today, Annemiek. I think she's changed bikes 5 times today and having to get back to the racers. Actually, the painting up here is one of those transitions where she has already changed her own race bike from the all kitted out yellow one to her backup bike, and at that point she's swapping. So she's swapping with her teammates. So this was the bike she was on, and she's now taking her teammate's bike to keep racing. So she eventually, of course, she has to get back off of that bike and back onto her original, and they give her her yellow bike first, and for some reason that bike isn't right either. So she changes yet again. She can't be happy. And every time she's had to, chase back to the peloton, and at some point, that's got to, well, it's clearly using energy, but is it using too much energy? That's the question. Well, that was the whole supposition yesterday, is that she had been sick, and here she goes off on this big solo attack that puts her into the yellow jersey, and the whole stage they're going, well, let's see what she has. Is she going to blow? She's been sick. How could she possibly do this? She proved she can do it quite well. Thank you very much. And so now, of course, the question is, how deep did she go yesterday? Is she going to be able to stay away now with these attacks? how can she possibly still have energy after all this and yesterday, yada, 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 yada. I don't know the answer to any of those questions. But my gut says, she'll be just fine. But, conversely, every one of these riders are A, going to test her, and B, are sure hoping that they at least have a chance to chase her down or to crack her and see if they've got their chance. Now this group back here at the back probably don't factor into that. But they, like I say, so now on to what I'm painting. Sorry. So this is the group that's just got down the mountains, and these couple of riders right here, Cristoforo is reaching over and tapping her teammate who helped her get back onto this group. Just a quick little thank you. For leading her down off the mountain and helping her get back to this group, so she's got a chance to still vie for stage honors as well. This is just, I've got a dog who's, oh yeah, that's right, I ate lunch just a minute ago, and now the dog is convinced he can get to the food. So this is the front group. No, correction. This is the peloton containing just right here the yellow jersey. And I think we'll just simply call this one thanks. Now I do flip these over and write who the riders are, where they are in the race, maybe some notes to myself for when I write the blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com. I may need to have a couple of notes for myself explaining, just to jog my memory. Because I paint the whole thing, photograph it, color balance, correct the photos should they need correcting. And then write the blog posts. And I'm old. I may forget why I painted it, what the significance of it was. So those are my thinking hands when I do that. That's what they say at work. I just put the brush in my mouth, so that's why I'm talking funny. So yeah, those are Greg's thinking hands. So now this group that it's back together, I guess the really next possible point of attack, which of course everybody's expecting, is the final climb, and it's a really tough climb. See, now that's what happens when you don't let the ink dry. See how that ink kind of bled a little bit and made the yellow a little muddy? I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm going to get this. So, I'm really glad I watched this race full stop. But I've been intrigued. I had no idea. I mean, basically every country does have its own national champion. But this is the champion of Cyprus. Wasn't quite expecting to see a Cyprian champion in the Tour de France. She's riding for the American team, Human Powered Health. I mean, that's the thing, is like, So when I say American team, it means their racing license is held in the USA. It does not mean that it's all American riders. And in this case, I'm using American riders as riders from the USA. But in fact, there is not a single team in this race that is comprised of just one nationality. Which just is a testament to the caliber of riders to be had and the recruiting processes. You got to go out and not only do you have to hire them, but you got to find them. So, breaking my own rules again, I'm going ahead and hitting some of these shadow lines before I finish the warm colors. Now, her kit, because she's the national champion, is going to be different than her teammate that she's thanking. Oops. So see, I forgot her calf muscles. And believe me, these women's calf muscles are not forgettable. All right, so now we'll move on. I think I'll just do this little bit of purple. So one of the, besides Swift, there's this, I have no idea what they are, but they have their names on the back of the bib. So the yellow has the team name, and the yellow is, of course, the yellow jersey, and that's the main sponsor, LCL. But the other part of this is lastminute.com. No idea what it is. So if you know, let me know. Good breakdown and search it. You may hear the TV in the background. It's Craft in America, fabulous show. All right, so now we're going to move on, actually come back to that same pink color to start this kit. Needed a little more water. It was too dry of a brush. So just work through this kit. Watercolor is particularly well suited to doing these jerseys, these faded jerseys that fade from one color to the next. Oh, the dogs are going to bark. What you barking at, Cleo? She's not going to tell me. So with these fades, I have to do the wet and wet. So I'm going to run through the whole palette of the fade because you want to get this. See, I just use a little bit of water to drag that fade a little bit better. And then down here, just got the same colors. And then, actually, she's got the same color. Well, the top of her jersey is, top of her kit is different. The rest of her kit matches her teammates. And so now this is another different rider. This is, SD Works, I believe. You have some very similar colors. Although not quite as vivid, a little more pastel. So to do pastel, you're going to need to use less pigment, more water. So see, that's a little intense right now for what I wanted. So I can just put some water on my brush, not too much, and then just drag it and see how that picks it up. All right. Now, I'm sorry, I'm stopping to think. She's rather blonde. It's apparently almost a requirement to have your long hair in a long braid. It's a little useful for me, and I mean, I'm painting what I see. I'm painting the women as they actually look, or as they look to me, I should say. So I'm not exaggerating figures or, you know, that's one thing, and I hope they'll correct it next year. So when they, on the broadcast, when they show who's holding what jersey, first they show the rider herself, and then they have this photoshopped figure in the leader's jersey. And what is just bizarre is, you know, obviously the women all have different figures. And then they're all wearing sports equipment. So, but, you know, what's weird is the photograph that they use to Photoshop the jersey looks like they put the jersey on a Barbie doll. You know what I mean? And it's just wrong. I saw somebody on Twitter had pointed, you know, said, this is ridiculous. And I had been looking at the image and I didn't know why it looked so weird. And this particular person on Twitter pointed it out, and I went, oh, that's disgusting. And it also dawned on me, that was probably, the graphics artist was a man. And it's like, ugh, why would you do that? But they did. So now I'm sort of working in some of this black. I know the hair. I'm going to pop around a little bit now on color. So that's sort of my, you know, of course, there were some weird things in the men's race too, or that same issue. And it was like they had these, I think they did a better job of getting the size of the men right. Well, they didn't radically change their appearance, the men's figures. Let's be egalitarian here. But they had a real trouble with how tall a various rider was. So they were making, you know, these jockey-sized riders every bit as tall as the guys, the rollers, who tend to be my size. There's even some really tall riders, which is sort of like, come on. Come on. You know, I like to see, well, you know, I'm an artist. I notice these things, but like I said, I hadn't quite figured out why the other one looks so weird. Yeah, this has got too much water, so it's not as dark. So I'm going to come back here and mix this color again. There we go. hear what's being said, but this woman was emphatically going, male, chauvinist, domination. Wasn't that what I was just talking about? I see something I forgot to do there. Let's get those little details on this helmet. There's a couple of things I've missed here. I intentionally missed these other spots of jerseys. So now I'm going to add a little bit of blue to get this dark blue of the background of the movie star kit. The same dark blue appears on the Trek Segafredo. And then okay, and now this is a dark purple. Shoot, I made it too purple. So now I'll go back to the building. I'm having troubles here. Good. See, you can see sometimes, you just don't hit it right. So adding a little, there we go. So now I can lay that in. And again, now that's too dark. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of water. There we go. I do so prefer the colors in the women's peloton. All right, now the two things I forgot were the Champions jersey sleeve on Evita Music and the pale blue M. So let me get this bright blue, so like a cerulean blue for this M. That's enough. And then what is this blue called? I think that's a phthalo blue. So a former national champion, like if she's not champion next year, she'll have probably an orange and white stripe on her sleeve showing that, so Musique is a former French champion. So for that honor, she always gets to have the bands of the French flag on her arm. And of course, any other champion would have their country's or an interpretation of their country's flag on their sleeve. So, and also then that does apply to the world champion as well. So you'll see, like when Annemiek van Vleuten was in her regular jersey, in the paintings from yesterday, the video from yesterday, you can see that she has the rainbow bands on the end of her sleeve, the rainbow bands of the being a former world champion. And it's not a true rainbow. It goes blue, red, black, yellow, green. It's like the Olympic flag with the same intention, so that it includes the colors of every nation's flag that takes part. Every nation's flag, full stop. So you're just putting in a little bit of the indication of the shadows of these riders. And that also helps break up this negative space. And now I want to shoot. I had all that purple. Yeah, that's purple. No, it's not. So I need a little bit of this purple. Actually, I need this purple. Yeah, there we go. These two helmets, the Human Powered Health. out in these purple helmets. And then we need to do this hair. So I've told you about the blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com. You can also see all of my art at gregleach.com. Now the host, Artspan, the hosting service of that blog, of that website, has had one of those upgrades from hell. So should you desperately want to purchase this painting, you're not going to be able to through the website. Normally that's a pretty easy transaction, but you know, God forbid they may keep things easy. So if you're really anxious, you can email me through the website, gregleach.com. If you want to support me in a less expensive / committed fashion, you can simply, what they call, buy me a cup of coffee. And yes, I've actually used some of the buy me a cup of coffee donations to buy a cup of coffee. I do like my lattes. So in that, there'll be a link there, but that's buy me a cup of coffee, or buy a cup of coffee, or buy me a cup of coffee. There, buy me a coffee. There we go. And then .com, and then my particular handle is Greg's Art with a C on the end of it for Greg's Art Cycling. Thank you if you choose to do that. But most importantly, I would really like it, and it does help more people see this work, if you leave a comment, give a thumbs up. I see a mistake I just made, so I see 2 mistakes I just made. It's part of what helps laying the background in. You go, oh, shoot, that's not background. So, one mistake was the blue of the other FDJ's glove. And then get that off my brush, because we have the flesh tone of Canyon SRAM rider's leg. There we go. And then we have the last little bit of Christopher's braid. All right. Now I forgot where I was on the other part. But, you know, thank you so much. If you do leave a comment, give a thumbs up. It helps drive the famous algorithms that allow people to see the work. So thank you so much for watching. And this is it. This is the last one for the Tour de France Femmes. Next thing will be in late September, I believe it is, when I'll paint the World Championships. But I'll post some stuff as I get back into my studio and work on projects I had to put on hold while I painted the Tour and the Tour de France Femmes. Thank you so much.